welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and today our Friday Reads is doing kind of a fun topic. We're doing books that feature wine and cheese. So I'm turning it over to Jill for her first pick.
So my first pick is Blackberry Wine by Joanne Harris. Jay McIntosh is trapped by a memory of an old familiar landscape of his childhood, more enticing than the present, and to which he longs to return. A bottle of home-brewed wine left to him by a long-vanished friend seems to provide both the key to an old mystery and the doorway to another world. As the unusual properties of the strange brew takes effect, Jay escapes to a derelict farmhouse in the French village of Lanquisset, where a ghost from the past waits to confront him, and the reclusive Maurice, haunted, lovely, and dangerous, hides a terrible secret behind her closed shutters. Between them, a mysterious chemistry, or could it be magic? This book is filled with nostalgia, a longing for childhood memories, and some magic in some home-brewed blackberry wine. So,
here you go. My first pick today is The Merlot Murders by Ellen Crosby. This was published back in 2006. This is the first in the Wine Country Mysteries series. So a phone call at 2:30 in the morning is never good news. Lucy Montgomery's semi-estranged brother Eli calls her in France to tell her their father has been killed in a hunting accident on the family's 500-acre Virginia vineyard just as the fall harvest is about to begin. By the time he calls, Eli has already made funeral arrangements with what Lucy argues is indecent haste. It's an emotional trip home, the first since an automobile accident 2 years ago, which left Lucy disabled and dependent on a cane. Her family's once elegant home and winery are now shabby and run down, thanks to her father's penchant for fringy business deals. Eli, also cash-strapped and desperate to support his new wife's extravagant lifestyle, has already convinced their rebellious younger sister Mia to sell the debt-ridden estate and reap the profits from the valuable land it sits on, overruling Lucy's protests. So this is set in the historic heart of Virginia's horse and hunt country. The Merlot Murders, tongue twister, is filled with fascinating detail about the science and alchemy of winemaking, and they think that Lucy's dad's death was no accident, that perhaps it was a murder. So you have to read the book to find out.
Wine and murder. My next one is a cozy mystery series, The Long Quiche Goodbye by Avery Ames. This is the first book in the Cheese Shop mystery series by this author. There are 7 books in the theory, and according to reader ratings on Goodreads, they get better as they go along. So this is the first one, and For Cheddar for Worse is the last one. They all have like fun cheese names. So in this one, welcome to the grand opening of the Fromagerie Bassett, or as it's more commonly known by the residents of small-town Providence, Ohio, the Cheese Shop. Proprietor Charlotte Bassett has prepared a delightful sampling of bold Cabo cloth-bound cheddar, delicious torts of Stilton and mascarpone, and a taste of Sauvignon Blanc, but someone else has decided to make a little crime of passion, the piece de la resistance. Right outside the shop, Charlotte finds a body, and the victim is stabbed to death with one of her prized olive wood-handled knives. So,
oh boy.
The Long Quiche Goodbye.
And I'm sticking with the cheese theme also for my second pick. So I have a book from the nonfiction section. This is Wisconsin Cheese, a cookbook and guide to the cheeses of Wisconsin by Martin Mintz, published back in 2008. The first book of its kind from the cheesiest state in the nation. Breads, salads, pasta, fondue, quesadillas, pizza, and quiche, as Jill just mentioned, are our favorite comfort foods and all have something in common. They're better with cheese. From the well-known cheddar, blue, and Swiss to little-known artisanal cheeses, a breadth of flavors and varieties from our nation's largest cheesemaking center are included in this book on Wisconsin cheese. Multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns and international awards, not to mention the infamous cheeseheads, have made Wisconsin cheese famous. That heritage is celebrated in this book that includes more than 100 recipes, cheesemaking and eating history, and trivia, suggested wine pairings, and a source list of fine cheese retailers, and much more. Home cooks can make Wisconsin buttermilk blue cheese and Asian pear salad, caramelized onion frittata with gorgonzola, blue crab quiche, and much, much more. The Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board promotes Wisconsin cheese all year long in national television ads and in restaurant events from coast to coast. Now, Wisconsin Cheese, this book, brings the best of Wisconsin's cheese recipes and lore into kitchens in every state. So check out Wisconsin cheeses.
Awesome. I've heard California makes more cheese.
Yeah, that's what they keep saying.
Like, how Now, next one is From Wine to Water by Carolyn Brown. This is the first book in a 3-book series called Angels and Outlaws. It's highly rated on Goodreads, but I don't know if there's any wine actually in this book. All Tyrell Fannin and his cousins Isaac and Micah Burnett want is to get out of Texas jail and go home to Mississippi. Delia Lavelle didn't need 3 outlaws to escort her and her sisters to Louisiana, but she doesn't really have a choice. The outlaws aren't happy about escorting nuns, but figure they might bring them luck, because not even Santa Anna could harm a holy woman. A week into the trip, however, the outlaws find that the nuns are sisters, but not of the cloth, and that their tempers would make an angel's wings shrivel up and fall off. Tyrell is determined to finish his job and forget all about Delia's piercing blue eyes, that tumble of black hair, and her hot temper. Delia can't wait to get away from Tyrell's constant judgment, but along the way she finds herself drawn to him. So, will they get what they want, safe travels home, or will fate intervene and bring them something different altogether? So, kind of a journey novel.
And my third pick for today is Wine and Punishment by Sarah Fox. This was published back in 2018. Book lover Sadie Coleman knows that in life, as in fiction, the right setting can make a world of difference. The small town of Shady Creek, Vermont seems like the perfect place to start over after losing her Boston job to a merger and her relationship to her ex's gambling addiction. She's bought and redecorated the old grist mill pub, transforming the Inkwell into a cozy spot where tourists and regulars alike can enjoy a pint, a glass of wine, or a literary-themed cocktail, or join one of its several book clubs. Little by little, Sadie is adjusting to the rhythms of her new home. Fall in Shady Creek is bookmarked by the much-anticipated Autumn Festival, complete with pumpkin catapults and a pie bake-off. Unfortunately, the season also brings an unwelcome visitor, Sadie's ex Eric, who's angling for a second chance. Before she can tell him to leave, he's found dead near the Inkwell. When the local antique shop catches fire on the same night, it's clear this town is harboring at least one unsavory character. So, now you got to read the book to find out what happens next. This is actually the first in a cozy mystery series called the Literary Pub Cozy Mystery Series. It's followed up by An Ale of Two Cities, The Malt in Our Stars, and she's working on one scheduled for December 2021 release called Claret and Present Danger. So this was new to me, haven't read them, but it sounded like a really fun series.
Love the cover, too. So, my next one is I Am the Cheese by Robert Cormier. This book was first published in 1977 for a young adult audience. Adam Farmer is on a journey. He has to get to Rudeberg with a parcel for his father. But as he travels, he starts to remember the events leading up to this point. Memories which are also being prized out in a grueling psychiatric interviews. What is the secret of Adam Farmer, and what will happen when he finds out? So, the I Am the Cheese, the title is taken from the song The Farmer and the Dell, where
the cheese
several people
alone.
come and the cheese stands alone. And so Adam sings many of these songs throughout the novel. The song contains several characters, each taking someone with them when the farmer leaves, yet the cheese has nobody. And then Adam believes he's the cheese, that he stands alone. So,
Sounds like an interesting book.
yeah, classic.
My fourth pick is also with cheese. This is The Telling Room, a story of love, betrayal, revenge, and the world's greatest piece of cheese by Michael Paterniti, published back in 2009. In the fall of 1991, while working at a gourmet deli in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the author encountered a piece of cheese. Not just any cheese. This was a Paramo de Guzman, a rare Spanish queso reputed to be the finest and most expensive in the world. The cheese carried its own legend. It was made from an ancient family recipe in the medieval Castilian village of Guzman, population 80 people. The cheese was submerged in olive oil and aged in a cave where it gained magical qualities. If you ate it, some said, you might recover your long-lost memories. Too broke to actually buy this cheese, the author made a vow that he would meet this cheese again someday. Flash forward 10 years, and he has finally found his way, family in tow to that tiny hilltop village to meet the famous cheesemaker himself, a voluble, magnetic, heartbroken genius named Ambrosio. When the author discovers him, is nothing like the idyllic slow food fable he had imagined. Instead, he wanders into and eventually becomes deeply implicated in the heart of an unfolding mystery in which a village begins to spill its long-held secrets, and nothing is quite what it seems. So I thought that one sounded kind of intriguing, too.
We have some good ones. My next one is The Vintner's Daughter by Kristen Harnish. And this one, like some of my others didn't have any wine in it, this one does. They actually do wine, and they go into detail about how wine is made and when you pick the things, because there's like a grape field, whatever, farm. Okay, this is historical fiction. Loire Valley, 1895, when 17-year-old Sarah Thibault's father is killed in a mudslide. Her mother sells her vineyard to a rival family, whose eldest son marries Sarah's sister Lydia. But a violent tragedy compels Sarah and her sister to flee to New York, forcing Sarah to put aside her dream to follow her father's footsteps as a master winemaker. Meanwhile, Philip Lemieux has arrived in California with the ambition of owning the largest vineyard in Napa by 1900. Then he receives word of his brother's death in France. He resolves to bring the killer to justice. Sarah has traveled to California in hopes of making her own way in the winemaking world. When she encounters Philippe in the Napa vineyard, they are instantly drawn to one another. But Sarah knows he is the one who could return her family's vineyard to her and send her straight to the guillotine. So, yeah, vineyard. That's the word I couldn't think of. Not grape farm.
And my last pick is called 800 Grapes by Laura Dave, published in 2015. There are secrets you share and secrets you hide. What if your beloved fiancé, he of the crinkly smile and irresistible British accent, had kept a life-changing secret from you? And what if, just a week before your dream wedding, you discovered that secret? Georgia Ford, bride-to-be, hops in her car, drives through the night from L.A. to Sonoma to her safe haven, her family and the acclaimed family winery. She craves the company of those who know her best and whom she truly knows. Better yet, it's the eve of the last harvest, the best time of the growing season, and Georgia knows she'll find solace and distraction in the familiar rituals. Growing up on her family's Sonoma vineyard, she learned some important secrets. The secret number of grapes it takes to make a bottle of wine, 800, like in the title. The secret ingredient in her mother's lasagna, chocolate. The secret behind ending a fight, hold hands. But when she arrives home, nothing at all is familiar. Her parents, her brother, the family business, all seem unrecognizable to her. It seems her fiancé isn't the only one who's been keeping secrets. This book is a story about the messy realities of family, the strength and weaknesses of romantic love, and the importance of finding a place to call home. It was said by Publishers Weekly that this winning tale will both satisfy on a literary level and encourage wine lovers to pour themselves a glass of a recent vintage to enjoy while reading. It's a tasty treat for wine lovers and teetotalers alike. You won't be able to put this addictive novel down. So 800 Grapes.
Not only read, but have wine with you while you're reading. Thank you for watching. Please share and like. We'd like to see what you're reading too.
We always love to hear from you. Next week on Friday Reads, we will be doing adult reads for fans of the Harry Potter books. Yes. So stay tuned and tune in for that. And then until then, thanks for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye.